Scott Ward, principal of Fifth Estate Communications, talks to host Doug Simon on PR's Top Pros Talk.
Scott, the fourth estate specifically relates to the media industry, obviously, which has been changing. So, why did you come up with the fifth estate as the name for your organization?
Sure. We started before the real on advent of the social media age. And it was becoming apparent, even at that time, that the walls of the fourth estate were being chipped away at by this new world that's called the fifth estate, where everybody could have their own channel. And the gatekeeper role that the fourth estate played was becoming, I wouldn't say less and less important. That's really slippery slope because the media is critical, and we see that all the more so today. But it was becoming more and more complex interdependency between the fourth estate and what I call the fifth estate, where everybody can have a channel, and you've got to work to get your channel out there to be noticed.
Great. So, you clearly were anticipating what was going to be coming down the pike. Given that, do you have a top tip for how brands can continue to navigate this rapid pace of change in today's landscape?
Know your story in and out, know why you're telling your story, know how you're going to tell it, and know who it's going to resonate with.
What's the key difference between a good story and a bad story? Is it you know it when you see it, or there's something else going on that you can be more specific to really help those in our viewing audience come up with better story angles?
Sure, it's a lot simpler than a lot of people make it seem, because the front up difference when you can tell a good story versus a bad story is whether that story in service to a goal, right? The question is, did you think about what was supposed to happen when somebody interacted with that story? And that's so much more important than the quality of the story. There's a base level, right? We've all been doing storytelling for a long time now, and we're all at a pretty good base level of storytelling. What a lot of people forget, though, is that the story is never about the story. The story is about what you want to have happen.
Yeah, and I think that's the key to public relations. It's really sort of interceding with someone with content that makes them do something they wouldn't have done before, hopefully for the good, if you hadn't interceded with them. And there's a tight relationship between good storytelling and media relations. Obviously, you're convincing other people to carry and share the content.
That's absolutely right. The story, and that's why you got to spend so much time in the goal of that story, because the story is going to take different shapes and forms as it evolves throughout the communications ecosystem. Right? It's going to look one way at the other end than it did at the beginning. If you started off with a solid set of goals and a solid set of ideas that you were trying to communicate, and as you were saying, make something happen in the world, make the world a better place tomorrow than it was yesterday, because someone interacted with a story, then that's what's really going to help you make sure that your media relations is effective and useful.
Yeah, and you work a lot in that space with nonprofits, organizations that historically have been known to contribute positive things to society. Of course, that definition is changing depending on who you talk to. Um, are there
Sure.
some keys to help nonprofits build trust with their audiences?
I'm always challenging my clients to think about whether the term brand is really an effective, useful term, and whether it has a meaning they want it to. Because a brand signifies ownership. Remember, a brand is that sizzle on the hindquarters of a cow telling somebody I own this, right? So if you go into a coffee shop with the engineer of flooring and the indie low music, they're telling you I own this space and you're welcome to it. Now design this space for you to be in it. But what a nonprofit makes is a promise. And there's a sounds like a difference, not a distinction, but there's a big distinction there. And the distinction is mine versus ours. And in nonprofits, we always have to remember we're in the ours business, right? We're in the business of inclusivity, of service, of 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 integrity, and we've got to make sure that we're communicating our promise again through good storytelling. But we need to know what that promise is. We know how we need to communicate it, and we need to live it. A brand is easy to pretend, right? A promise isn't. It's hard to half keep a promise and not let people notice it.
First, kudos to you for being the first person in more than 300 episodes to talk about branding cattle. We haven't run into that before. But I do think what you're saying also has some carryover to for-profit brands and organizations as a way to think differently and more collectively with their audiences.
Everything used to be so easy. All the things that seemed hard then, you look back and it's like, wow, that was easy. It was easy to build a brand. You just had to have the right colors, the right typeface, and the right name, a good tagline, and boom, you're off to the races. You can't do that anymore. Because you got people ahead of you, behind you, beside you, all around you. You're in this crowded marketplace. You're on I-95 driving south on a holiday weekend, and people are running all around you. And so, if you focus on the fundamentals, you know, a brand is what are we? A promise is who are we, right? And if you focus these fundamentals are who are we? What is it? What is it we're trying to accomplish? What is it we're trying to do? And a lot of nonprofit communicators like to say, we're not in the business of selling soap. We're in the business of selling ideas. We're in the business of selling good. And that's fine and good, but you kind of also got to know how to sell soap too. And the soap sellers out there aren't all evil people. People need soap. And so they need to think about what it is that they're providing to their customers that is unique and of value and that their customers can actually use and why their customers want to stick with them.
Yeah, well, you've definitely given our audience a good insight into who you are and some great ideas for them to carry forward. Any final thoughts you want to leave them with?
In this era of rapid change, we just have to be comfortable reinventing ourselves every day. That doesn't mean that we're putting on a new face and a new body. It just means that change requires us to hold on even harder to the things that are our core tenets, our core values, our core stories, our core promise. We need to hang on to those, but to be able to adapt in a second to how we share those and how we execute those in the world. So it's not about a shifting, changing face. It's about a shifting, changing landscape that we need to not run away from, not be afraid of, but to embrace and live into.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being part of the show.
Doug, thank you so much. I can't tell you how excited I was to get called to be on here and how what a big fan I am of your work.
Thank you. Means a lot. Means a lot.